The World Cup final draw, held last Friday in Washington, D.C., for the purpose of pleasing and in the presence of President Donald Trump, was one of the worst things I've ever seen. It was one of the most stomach-sinking, pain-inducing spectacles I've ever watched. And I realized that I feel that way for a couple reasons. Like, one, as an American, it's embarrassing. It's just embarrassing. And two, as a soccer fan, it's embarrassing. I'm really excited for the World Cup, and this is what they provide. And the thing is, the word that really comes to mind is that word cringe. But it's a weird mixture of like cringe and foreboding. I don't know if there's a word for that. I'll create a word, cringe boding. It made me feel that amazing sense of like terrible things are happening. This is evidence of them. And also, ugh. It's gross. It's ridiculous. It's laughable. Now, I've seen a lot of people talk about this. I've seen a lot of soccer pundits, a lot of political pundits. Political pundits don't really understand what's going on because they don't understand the nature of FIFA. They don't understand the importance of this sporting event, right? And what I think is important to do is to sort of not think of this as like something simple, like, oh, this is just like FIFA doing the World Cup in Russia in 2018, under Putin. I think this is closer to the 1934 World Cup with Mussolini's Italy. And the term that I need to teach you, if you don't know this word, the word is obsequious. Okay, it's a good word. It's a good word. You should use it in your daily life. It means obedient or attentive to an excessive or servile degree. And that's what this whole event was. It was obsequiousness, it was servility, it was obedience and attentiveness to one singular person. So what I want to do is, first of all, just in less than a minute, explain what a World Cup draw is in case you don't know. The World Cup is the most watched sporting event in the world. Countries fight to participate in it. When they qualify, they need to be put into groups. If they can come in first, second, and sometimes third in that group of four, then they can proceed to the next stage of the tournament. So which group you get drawn into has a huge consequence on how the tournament will unfold. That's all it is. So you might be wondering, what musical acts do we need? None. What presenters do we need? None. It's all silly. It's all ridiculous. It is all superfluous. Okay? So with that in mind, it becomes a spectacle that provides advertising for FIFA, advertising for the World Cup. It's supposed to get people excited in this space. So what if I told you that the 2026 World Cup draw was the second one done in America? And once you know that in 1993 there was the draw for 1994, maybe we can ask, was the 2026 draw even the worst, cringiest draw in American football, aka football if you're nasty, soccer if soccer history? Well, let's find out. You see behind me a little piece of memorabilia, which I'm going to show you in some great detail. It is, in fact, the World Cup final draw image, the sort of poster. And this is in my possession. You see that it's been signed by quite a few people. The way that I found it was, before I was a YouTuber, I was a collector. And I love collecting autographs because, I don't know, I'm silly. And I love James Brown. James Brown's one of my favorite musicians. So I look up James Brown autographs and I find this thing. And I'm like, well, this is weird. So I haggled for a bit and I got a good price on it, and it's signed by a bunch of people who were there at this draw, which got me to go down this rabbit hole. And what I discovered was the 1994 World Cup final draw was unbelievably cringy, but it was also cute. It was cute and clumsy. It was a moment that represented America unaware and incapable of understanding what soccer was on any level. It was patronizing and incompetent at the same time. It was a wild moment. It's like, what is soccer? what is Mickey Mouse? Can we just put Mickey Mouse in here? Like, literally, that happens in the middle of this whole thing. Head scratching celebrities all over the place. And it was held not in DC or New York. It was held in Las Vegas, which gave the whole thing a kind of faux Las Vegas variety show feel. That's how it felt. It felt like, well, after this is over, I'm going to go play some blackjack and then go back to the hotel. It had that kind of feeling, that kind of pomposity and ridiculousness. So that was the 1994 final draw held in December 1993. And we, of course, are also talking about the 2026 draw held in December 2025. If the 1994 one was a faux Las Vegas variety show, the way to understand the 2026 draw is that it was a faux award ceremony. It didn't feel like a circus. It didn't feel like a clumsy, weird variety show. It had all of the ridiculous self-congratulatory weight and clumsy, poorly written jokes on teleprompters. It had all of the badly integrated musical guests. It had all of the just lameness of an award show, of the Oscars, of the Tonys, of the Grammys. Because the 2026 final draw was not a final draw. It was an award show. By my mug. It was an award show. They created a peace prize to give to Donald Trump. By the way, I am also giving a peace prize. It's the Not Invading Ukraine Peace Prize. I'm giving it to Vladimir Putin. So if you'd like it, you could just send me an email and I'll send it out to him. So this was a peace prize award. It was an attempt at state propaganda in the name of Donald Trump exclusively. And this is what makes it so bizarre. This isn't like something that he invented, like his military parade or whatever. This is preparation for the most viewed event in the world, the most popular television and spectator event in the entire world. And this final draw was completely designed and directed for one person. Like, multiple billions of people are going to watch this thing, but this is all for the president. And what made it so cringy, and what I realized it was this obsequiousness was also patronizing. Because they know that Donald Trump doesn't know what soccer is and doesn't care. Donald Trump, in this whole award show, was the spoiled rich kid whose Trump is numb from being kissed all the time. Somebody whose flattery receptors are blown out. There was a kind of questionable movie called The Toy, which Jackie Gleason plays a father who spoils his kid and literally buys Richard Pryor to be his entertainer for a week. It's a very weird show. It's good. I mean, it's a good movie. Richard Donner directed it. There's some things there that are uncomfortable, but that's kind of how it feels. Like just this little rich boy wearing his little suit and just going, I want that. Oh, come on, Donnie. Let's take you to the baseball game. I don't like baseball. It's boring. Okay, Donnie. Well, what if we buy you a jersey? I want 2 jerseys. Okay. And I want to meet all the players. Okay, yeah. And I want my name on the board. Okay. And I want fireworks. Big fireworks. Okay, Donnie, we can do that. Where would you like to sit? I want to sit on the field. Well, Donnie, you can't. I want to sit on the field. All right, we'll put you behind the pitcher. All right, Donnie, we'll put you behind the pitcher. We'll put you in a chair behind the pitcher, and there'll be fireworks, and your face will be up on the board, and you will get to meet all of the players. Then will you go and watch baseball? I guess. It's boring. That's what it was. That's the whole thing was just that. And they had to be in this fake award to get Donnie to say, okay, little baby boy Donnie, baby Billy, baby boy Donnie had to get that. They even had to bring out his favorite band to play his favorite song. And everyone had to listen to him as he tells his stories. That's what happened. It was incomprehensible. Just when you think you can't be surprised by the level of selfishness and disconnection from reality, it gets worse. But of course, it's funny, but it also has a horrible significance because it is an indication of just how much of an authoritarian hellscape we are currently living in. The wild thing about it is, there's a great Twilight Zone episode where there's a little boy, I think he's played by Bill Mummy, who sends people into the cornfield, which is to say, makes them die whenever he gets upset. So everybody around him has to keep telling, oh, you're doing a great job. You're wonderful. You're the greatest. Because if he gets mad, he's going to send you into the cornfield. This whole thing felt like the little boy and the entire world was around him, hoping they don't send him into the cornfield. Because literally nobody, not a single person in the audience or watching thought it was a good or interesting or correct thing to give Donald Trump the Peace Prize and give him the floor. Nobody thought it was a good idea. Not Infantino, not the audience, not MAGA people. Nobody wants this. Nobody wanted this except for the one person. Simple Donnie doesn't know what he wants, but he wants it all, and he wants the best. And baby Billy, baby Donnie, right here, arrives at the most singular moment of the entire event, which will forever serve, I think, as an indication of what the Trump era was like. One ridiculous dictator forcing people to give him prizes and make him happy. But is it the worst? Was 1994 actually just as bad, just in a different way? Let's talk about it, okay? I'm going to share a slideshow where I'm going to be comparing these two things. I'm going to be putting them back to back against each other so that you can make your own determination. You know, what do you think? What do you think? Which one of these is more cringy? Obviously, the image itself is pretty cringy. This is very 1994 coded, very much like, oh, cool. On Microsoft Paint, we can do a little like soccer ball and I guess a column, a nice Doric column. Should we do Corinthian? No, we'll stick with Doric. You know, it really has that 90s, oh my God, computers are the future way. I will be explaining all these autographs later so you understand the absolute absurdity of the 1994 World Cup. But I think the best way to understand them is just to see this simple difference. In 1993, we had Robin Williams. In 2025, we had Robbie Williams. No better indication of just how far away it was from pleasing Americans. You can either have the most popular comedian in the country, or you can have some guy that, like, some Americans might know from the Monkey movie, but that's about it. We just take this opening. The opening to the 1993 ceremony was charming. We had this Statue of Liberty in front of the World Trade Center, you know, and another kind of computery image that looked really futuristic and cool at the time with the flame being replaced by a soccer ball. It's solid, it's funny, it's cool, it's goofy, it's light, it knows what it is. This is a superfluous event for a sporting tournament, all right? It doesn't have to be more than this, does it? Well, we have Andrea Bocelli in 2025, and it's worth mentioning that he also performed at Trump's inauguration. So that means we have somebody that baby Donnie really likes. Little Donnie likes Bocelli. Bocelli said, I like Twompy. So he get Twompy to sing for Twompy. Oh, just right off the bat. And why is it so dark? Why is it so serious? Why is it looking like a funeral procession? What is this about? Why is it so solemn? It's so solemn because baby Donnie wants to feel like a big Weta. That's what it is. That's what this is. Oh, look at this great festival for Donald Trump. So we got to have this guy singing. And when it comes to the hosts, man, in 94 we had Dick Clark. What's he doing? He doesn't know anything about soccer, but who cares? You know, he's like the host. He was the Ryan Seacrest of the 20th century, you know? And he's just him, man. He can host anything. Just straight up and down. There you go. Alongside Faye Dunaway, one of the great actresses of the 70s and 80s. Just pros, professionals who know what they're doing, and they're engaging and they're interacting, and it's cheesy as hell. I'm not saying it's good. I'm saying it's cheesy as hell, which is the appropriate register for this event. They're reading off a teleprompter. They're not trying to make jokes. They're not trying to be funny. They're just getting to the draw eventually. And then we have Heidi Klum and Kevin Hart. And I've been really trying to figure out why this was such a terrible pairing. On one level, it shows a lack of care and forethought and directing that is mind-boggling. Who is directing this? Did they have a rehearsal? Do you see what is in front of you? Do you see what a poorly composed shot this is? Now, I've put a lot of thought into this. I've been trying to figure out why is it such a bad shot. It's not just that their size differences is so great, but it is jarring to have that, like, to have two human beings who seem like they are on different scales. But it's also the way that it's lit and the way that the background is. So Kevin Hart has dark skin, right? And then the background is black. And then he's wearing a black sweatshirt. That wouldn't be such a big deal if it were lit properly. But the lighting is done for Heidi Klum, who, by the way, is the same age that Faye Dunaway was when she did her thing. She's dressed like an Oscar. She's in bright gold. Her skin is light, so she pops and is lit completely properly. All of her features come through totally clearly. So I was like trying to figure it out. Like I tried to do a different background and see how different it would be. It's a little bit better. It's a little bit more remarkable, but that's not really the issue. Even if you put them on white, you see what it is. In the last 30 years, they have finally figured out that the way that movies and TV are lit has been systemically and systematically ignoring people with darker skin. They don't do the lighting properly so that people with darker skin don't get to have as many clearly defined features when they're being filmed. You can read articles about it. It's a hugely known story. So this is the image that they give us? This is like the worst set. This is the worst filming you could possibly imagine. They did 100% for Heidi Klum, 0% for Kevin Hart. Now, I think he was terrible. But even if he was good, he's so incorrectly shot that it wouldn't even make a difference. Seriously, who thought it was... Anyways. Yeah, here he is talking about how much he loves soccer. Right, we'll talk about that later. Then as they get the warm-up, in 1994, they gave the FIFA Player of the Year award to Roberto Baggio, who won the award because he was a great player. It was about soccer. Americans had to learn who Roberto Baggio was. And that makes sense because that's what this is. This is a FIFA event, so he gets the FIFA award. Instead, in the 2025 version, we get the extremely unlikable, completely corrupt, billionaire, kleptocratic ghoul, Carmine Infantino, who tries to pump up the crowd, which is like... It's not even... Just because he's bald doesn't mean he's Lex Luthor. Lex Luthor has charisma, has interest, right? There's something about Lex Luthor that you can't help but like. He gets up here and gives this speech, and he tries to get people pumped, and he has no capacity whatsoever to get people excited. Primarily because most of the people know that he's completely corrupt and that he takes bribes and that he is just organizing it so that FIFA does whatever it can possibly do to maximize its profits at the expense of the people who watch the game. From the fact that I've been trying to get tickets to see Haiti play, and so far the cheapest, the get-in-the-door price is $1,000 for a ticket. And that's me, right? I have a fairly good job, and I can't afford that. So to the fact that the last one was in Qatar, the one before was in Russia, this one's in America, and it's going to be in Saudi Arabia. We know who he is. So stop trying to pretend like you're someone else. Stop trying to pretend like you are somebody who is loved by anybody. He's trying to... FIFA is the official happiness provider for humanity? What kind of speech is this? Who says that? I'll tell you who says that. Somebody whose audience is Donald Trump. Donald Trump speaks in superlatives. It is the most, it is the best, it is the smallest, it is the worst. That's it. So saying that FIFA is the happiness provider for humanity is in the Trumpian register. And he's trying to get people pumped by doing chants. USA. Yeah, man, there was some point, I think, where Chuck Schumer tried to get people to do a chant. It has the same level of energy. Just no energy at all. It's embarrassing. 1993, they show us Mickey Mouse. They're like, this is what's happening. Hey, rest of the world, you're going to have to come to America, but you can go to Disney World. It's cool. It wasn't even on ABC. It wasn't even a Disney production. But who cares, man? Here's some Mickey Mouse. Then we have these weird moments where we have all three of them on screen. Again, just the way it's filmed, I don't understand. All three of them on screen, right? And then Kevin Hart says the World Cup halftime show will be box office. Do you hear me? Call me deaf, Mr. Hart. I don't hear you. I don't know what you mean. Will be box office is not slang. That's not like, oh, you're not hip to the slang. There's no slang. It will be box office. What does that mean? He didn't even announce what it is. What does it mean? It will be box office. Do you hear me? No. I just like this old Delta commercial in 93. Made me nostalgic. You know, in 93, we had Evander Holyfield go up and Sepp Blatter. Now listen, Sepp Blatter, who was the former corrupt head of FIFA, they're both corrupt. You know, he was present, but he wasn't trying to be the star of the show. He was trying to be the ringleader. As opposed to the co-headliner with the President of the United States, he was just somebody who was there. Whereas in 2025, we're just given all of these advertisements for how great FIFA is and how wonderful they are. And it's at this point I want to make a crucial parallel between FIFA and Donald Trump. Everybody knows that FIFA is corrupt and greedy and a bad organization. Everybody who goes to FIFA events, including hopefully me if the ticket prices come down, I will watch as much of the World Cup as I possibly can. I know that I will be supporting them, and I know what they are. There's no point in advertising to me what they are. And in the same way, everybody knows that Trump is on the take, that he's a liar and that he's corrupt. People who love him, they might say they don't think it, but they're pretending. They know. They know. The same way, I don't know, I love Obama, but I also know that he was pretty insincere and that he was a fairly narcissistic guy. Like, you can do both those things. Now, I wouldn't say that in a political debate. I'd say he was a great guy. But you know what I mean? Like, we all know, everybody knows who Trump is. But still, Trump feels the need to try to go out there and win peace prizes and talk about how great he is and how kind and loving and thoughtful and transparent he is. It's this weird parallel. Like, if you are going to screw us over, just do it. Don't try to make us like it, because we know what's happening. We know what's happening. We know what FIFA does. We know what Trump does. They don't need to throw each other a mutual party, a circular party of jerks. Okay? That's what this is. A circular party of jerks to tell each other how great they are, how great the FIFA education fund is. We know you're just pocketing the money. We know. And Robbie Williams isn't going to help you. And then we get to the Peace Prize. Is it a coincidence that the Peace Prize is represented by gold? Gold is the symbol of peace. They invented this prize for this event because Donald Trump was not nominated for the Nobel Peace Prize, so he promised that he would get a Peace Prize. How embarrassing can you possibly get than having somebody invent a Peace Prize? A couple things. One, this is an AI trophy. Look at that. Look at how weird those hands are. It doesn't make any sense. It's invented for the moment. It doesn't look like the people are holding the earth up. It feels like they are hands coming from hell and pulling them down, which works pretty well for the Trump administration. But like, look at that. Look at that craziness. How ugly of a statue is that? Is that lifting people up? Is that peace? It is such an embarrassing moment. And the crazy thing is who is the most powerful person in that room? That room is filled with soccer coaches, association football, if you're nasty. It's filled with soccer coaches. It is filled with players. It is filled with soccer media. Gianni Infantino is the most powerful person to the people in that room. He has more of a direct impact on those people's lives. But he has to genuflect and be, let's say it again, obsequious in that moment and make Donald Trump the most powerful person in that room. You know, it's like, anyways, just how embarrassing is it to give himself a trophy? You know, because that also happened at the end of the game. That baby Donnie, when he went to go see the New York Yankees, he didn't want to go, but they put a seat behind Garrett Cole, so he got to sit there and he watched the whole game. And there were fireworks, and his favorite band came out and played. And then at the end, they gave him a medal for being the best fan of the game. That's what this is. This is how embarrassing it is. Now, what about celebrity ball selectors? That's where we're going to get back here to my little thing here. Because I've been talking about 2025, but we also got to talk about 1994. You know, because this was the fascinating thing about this object I have, about this autographed poster. I don't even know what the origin of the poster is. But if we take a look at it, we see the clumsy charm of this event. And I think in comparing the ball selectors of 2025 to those of 1993, I think we'll see like the difference in the nature of the event. Now, on one hand, you have Alan Rothenberg, who is essentially the father of American soccer. He's the person who got the World Cup to America. He's, I believe, the person behind Major League Soccer. Like, if there is a Mount Rushmore of soccer in America, he's the first face going up there. So he's not maybe famous to you, but I like having him up there. And Philip Andeel, who is former leader of the Treasury or the Mint, who helped him out. And there is no signature of Sepp Blatter, which is a bummer, but one of his toadies, Guido Tognoni, is there. Robin Williams is on there. That's pretty sweet. Model Carol Alt is on there for some reason. I told you, this whole thing had this weird variety show feel where, like, who are these people? Like, even in 1994, Carol Alt was not particularly famous. Vanessa Williams, who was Miss America, then had her title taken away from her because she had appeared naked in a magazine years before, and then went on to have a successful recording career. So, like, what was the 1994 draw? It was Vanessa and Robin Williams at the same time with Carol Alt. Just a weird hodgepodge that didn't make any sense but has a certain clumsy charm. Beau Bridges? What is he? The father of Jeff Bridges, star of Sequest, is out here. Like, this is the random bizarreness of what's going on. Of course, Faye Dunaway has the largest signature because she's Faye Dunaway. And she was like the host. She was awesome. Perfect. Peter Max, great artist of the 1960s who did the design work for the official art. His signature's on there. I'm telling you, this is like the weirdest thing. And then, of course, we got James Brown. The reason that I bought this whole thing was I looked for cool James Brown autographs, and here I found James Brown. I feel good. Mary Lou Retton, who is one of the most famous American athletes of all time. 1984, she won the gold medal in the LA Olympics for gymnastics. So, like, she was there. This is that charm I'm talking about. This is that goofy charm. Mario Andretti, the greatest American race car driver, he was also there. Like, they're really trying to get us engaged, but what I like is that they're trying to get us engaged not with things that, like, we associate with, like, American baseball or football or hockey or basketball. Like, they're trying to get us engaged with, like, the other sports that America sometimes cares about, like racing and gymnastics. But then when it gets to soccer greats, that's where this object gets to be crazy. And this is what's interesting to me, is how secondary the soccer figures were in 2026. Like, the people who were there were, like, good players and stuff, but it wasn't like, oh, wow, look at who they got. And, like, they were interviewing them in the audience because, again, it was just like the Oscars. It had that kind of weird feeling. So let's see who we had back in 1994 and evidence as to why the 94 World Cup draw was actually better. Okay, Tony Meola is not a soccer great. He was the goalie for the USA team, but okay, he's the only exception. Michelle Acker-Stahl is one of the greatest female soccer players of all time. She was the leader of the American team at this point. I mean, we've had Abby Wambach since then and a bunch of other superstars, but she was like one of the foundational female soccer superstars, and she's up there too. Eusebio. Now, I thought this was Evander Holyfield at first, but then I looked it up. It was Eusebio, like one of the greatest Portuguese players of all time. Roger Milla, like one of the greatest African players of all time from Cameroon. They were both there. Eusebio and Roger Milla? Marco van Basten? Like another country's all-time great. Michel Platini, kind of a FIFA ghoul as well, who probably should be in jail. But the greatest soccer player, the greatest French soccer player before the generation of 1998, I would still say he's in the top 10, he maybe even in the top 5. But at the time, the greatest French soccer player of all time. At the time, the greatest German soccer player of all time, Franz Beckenbauer. And yes, my British watchers, even Bobby Charlton was there. So it was like this amazing celebration of American goofiness and soccer royalty all there together. But the question is, where was Pele? Now, this is what's fun and interesting. Where is Pele? If you hear my baby crying, don't worry. My wife is upstairs with her. That is the sound that she makes when she wants to play with something, but it's dangerous. So she's fine. So the reason that Pele wasn't there was because he was beefing with some member of FIFA. So just like Pele is somewhat famous for showing up basically anywhere someone would give him a check. Like that's just, he was maybe the greatest soccer player of all time. I'd put him at least at number 2 behind the Zidane for myself. But, one of the greatest players of all time. And he would show up to anything, but he wouldn't show up there. So that's where I'm going to give 1 point. 1 point to Donnie. 1 point for Trump is he mentioned Pele. He mentioned watching Pele play with the New York Cosmos. Like for one day, for 1 second, Donald Trump was a human being. And he was like, oh yeah, I saw Pele play with the New York Cosmos. Like, that's a relatable thing. And he said he played great and he was awesome. And was he doing it on purpose? Was Trump making a callback to 1994 and trying to needle FIFA and sort of say like, man, you guys screwed it up and created divisions with Pele? No, he wasn't that. He wasn't playing 4D chess or even checkers. Okay, he was playing tic-tac-toe against somebody who was paid to lose. Okay, but still, it's funny that he mentioned Pele, and then he even tacked on with, I assume he's one of the greats. Like, dude, did you not check if Pele is one of the greats? It's a very strange thing. But then Trump gets another point by showing up and saying that they should call soccer football. Listen, Donald Trump does a lot of terrible things. On average, maybe the worst president of my lifetime. Hard to beat George W. Bush. We'll see. Time will tell. But the good thing about him is sometimes he screws up and does something right. And this is one of those examples. He is, for I believe the first time that I can think of, anti-nationalist. America calls soccer soccer because we called something else football, and it doesn't make any sense. And we really should just have come up with a different name for American football, but we didn't. And so then we hold on to it, and there's a kind of nationalistic pride in calling it soccer, a kind of goofiness. And it's exactly the kind of thing that Trump would be in favor of. Like, screw the world, I'm just going to keep talking about soccer. But he, in some weird moment of, genuineness, was like, they should come up with another name for the NFL. We might be entering the era of actually calling American football hand egg. We could change the NFL to the National Hand Egg League, the NHL. I can't see anything that would make that confusing at all. But it's a funny, weird, candid moment where Trump is just riffing and accidentally saying something true and downright anti-American. So these are all the people that were there. Now, to give credit to 2026, when the new announcers came up, they were much better. Rio Ferdinand, then I forget the name of the lady who does a lot of good commentary on TV. They were much better. They were much more natural. I don't know why they weren't there in the first place. And then we have the ball selectors, who are all American stars, but they're not randomly selected. Aaron Judge, okay, baseball player, politically neutral. Shaq, basketball player, politically neutral. Brady, known MAGA supporter, had the MAGA hat in his locker, supports Trump. Gretzky, Gretzky is probably the most dominant athlete in the history of any one sport. The way Gretzky dominated hockey, I do not believe any other sport has ever been dominated by any other player ever. And that's including Messi, that's including Babe Ruth, that's including Michael Jordan. I don't think anybody has ever dominated as much as Wayne Gretzky dominated hockey in the 80s. So, Canada is turning on him because he is such a toady to Trump. So again, the whole thing is for one audience. Because if they put whatever, if they put Zidane up there, if they put David Beckham up there, Trump wouldn't know who they are. Or maybe they'd say no because they don't want to be tainted by Trump. Because this is the Trump award ceremony, not the final draw. I do want to defend Wayne Gretzky for 1 second here. He called it Macedonia. And everybody laughed at him because we pronounce it Macedonia. My wife, who's Yugoslavian, will tell you they do call it Macedonia in Macedonian. and in Serbo-Croatian, so maybe that's correct. Calling it Curacao, so he called Curacao, and this is a sign that Wayne Gretzky did not grow up after the Quiet Revolution. In Canada, there was a revolution, a quiet revolution, no blood drawn, in which French Canadians were given more respect, and part of that was by forcing all Canadians to learn French. That happened in the late 70s, where Gretzky was already playing hockey, like in the majors. So he didn't learn that little cedilla on the C makes a soft C, and it makes it Curacao instead of Curacao. So I'm not going to make fun of him for that. And I don't think alcoholism is funny, so I won't make fun of him being drunk, but he was very clearly drunk. It's very sad. My favorite sober speaker was actually a hockey player named Derek Sanderson, the Flying Turk. He played for the Bruins. He gave a speech to my school about staying clean, and I still think about it. So I wish Gretzky recovery. And then when it comes to comedians, we really need to dig into what made Kevin Hart so bad. I like Kevin Hart. I think Kevin Hart is very funny. I think it's a good thing he's in so many movies. I even like his bad movies. Like, I like Soul Plane, except for the fact that his attitude towards sexual assault is generally positive. The rest of that movie is pretty funny. I think he's good. But he was so bad. This only played to his weaknesses. This whole thing. It was crazy how bad it was. He would be telling these jokes on the teleprompter, but the thing is, if you're telling jokes on a teleprompter in an award show, you either have to give in to being cheesy or go off script. He was trying to look like he was going off script while being cheesy. He was slew-footing it. He was just not at all doing it the way you're supposed to do it. And all this unconvincing soccer pandering, talking about how he and his boys got into soccer in 1994. Dude, you've never talked about soccer before. It's okay. It's not our thing, man. We don't know about this sport. That's the whole point. And the worst part was his half-hearted, self-promoting improv. So he had a joke. And that joke was, I'm going to talk about how great I am, and I'm going to promote my Netflix show, my Netflix special. Even at its best, that is a mild chuckle. Like, oh, he's pretending to be super egotistical. But that's the only joke he had, and he kept going back to it over and over and over again. And mixed in with the unconvincing soccer talk, mixed in with the clumsy, unfunny stuff, mixed in with the fact that he had no charisma with Heidi Klum, who has no charisma herself. Like, why didn't they give him a comedian to talk next to as opposed to a model? I don't know. So I want to give sympathy to Kevin Hart, but you know what? He does advertisements for online gambling, so no sympathy for him. You deserve all of the terrible lines that you are given. You deserve to be ridiculed because you are on the side of class warfare against the working class, against the lower class. You are for the billionaire class. You are no friend of anybody, Kevin Hart. You deserve nothing. Yeah, I didn't think it was right when he was denied the Oscars because of old tweets and all that. But you know what? If you're just going to promote gambling, you get to go with Tom Brady into the I don't care about you anymore, you don't deserve credit. The only funny moment was just this weird moment of human scale, how Shaq it's crazy to think that these are both just adults. It's amazing, the size difference. That was kind of funny. But we compare that to Robin Williams. Now, if you've never seen Robin Williams perform at the 1994 World Cup draw, you owe it to yourself. Now, I want to take a second here. What made Robin Williams so good is not that he was that funny. He was funny, but it's not Robin Williams at his funniest. It's that he was the voice of the people. He was the voice of the audience. He was the one saying what we were all thinking. This is lame. This is a joke. Everyone is taking this so seriously. There's some guy named Sepp Blatter, and I'm supposed to take him seriously, and I'm supposed to pick out these balls from a bowl and treat it with the solemnity as though I am picking the Nobel Peace Prize winner. This is goofy. This is just about a bunch of people kicking a ball, and it's fun and it's cool, and let's just do it. He was our voice. He helped to deflate the whole moment. As the British commentator said in the Eurosport presentation, thank God for Robin Williams. Because, like, we needed that. We didn't have that in 2026. The 2026 draw, all we had was just solemnity upon solemnity upon, we are the education fund. This is the prize of peace. These are the most important. Just, there was no break. It was relentless bullshit. Relentless. And here, Robin Williams provides completely improvised fun. So, starting right off the bat, he just makes fun of Sepp Blatter's name over and over and over again. It's nice to meet you after feeling you for so many years. I talked to you in the bathroom before I came here. All funny stuff like that. His best work is where he basically becomes like Bugs Bunny, where Sepp Blatter keeps on telling him to not pick the balls, but he keeps on acting like he's going to, and then he's starting to do the voice. He starts to talk like Sepp Blatter with the accent. It's not the time. It is not the time. It's hilarious. He's winding him up because Sepp Blatter is he's the most powerful person in that room, and Robin Williams is making fun of him. And that's beautiful to watch. It's hilarious. He's making jokes with Mary Lou Retton, giving himself a score out of 10 for his performance. All right, turn one side and cough. Simple jokes for people, but just why not? He presents the ball to him with this fake grandiosity and this fake pomposity, which is, in my opinion, the funniest part of the whole thing, because none of this needed to happen. So that's why that's my favorite moment. That's why it's so great. This is what made the 94 so good. As far as music goes, awesome that we had Lauryn Hill. As far as I know, she's not MAGA. That was fun to see her. But the 1994 one is ridiculous. James Brown, godfather of soul, founder of funk. Willie Nelson, the godfather of outlaw country, one of the greatest country singers of all time. Stevie Wonder, the Wonder Kid, multi-instrumentalist, soul and R&B superstar and pop superstar. Barry Manilow, who sings ballads for little old ladies. And Vanessa Williams, an at the time huge pop star. This is the panoply of American pop music. This is what it is to be in America in the 90s. All of these greats all coming together and playing. And listen, if you need a past their prime British sex symbol like Robbie Williams, you got Rod Stewart performing via video. Although I do respect Rod Stewart for being a train collector. I think that's funny. He collects model trains. But like this right here is how you represent the greatness of America. Not Robbie Williams, who's not American. Not Bocelli, who's Italian. Okay, Lauryn Hill's a good start, but compared to the rest, and this is where we get to the closing. The closing was a proper closing for a variety show in 1994. We have the hosts together. We see the way they're lit. They're both lit evenly. And we have James Brown, while the song "Living in America" is playing in the background. He's very clearly hitting on the ball on the ball girl there. But they're all just kind of goofily hanging around. They don't really know how to play with a soccer ball, so most of them are bouncing it like a basketball. It's just kind of funny, kind of goofy. But they're all just doing that. They're all just doing that and closing. One second. I need to pause the recording. I'm getting a call from my wife. One second. Okay, I'm back. I had to go take care of the dogs. Anyways, so the charm of the 1994 final draw, the awkwardness, the clear inability to understand what anybody is doing there. But that can only be one-upped by the 2026 draw, which had to be one of the most symbolic moments of the entire Trump presidency, in which nobody involved in anything going on had any idea of what was happening. We had the Village People perform their biggest hit, YMCA, in the presence of Donald Trump. Now, if you don't know, YMCA is the official song of Donald Trump. It is the song he plays at all of his rallies. He does this little dance where he's like, it's this little dance with both of his hands, and it's like his song. Now, the fact that it's his song is super weird because he is an anti-LGBTQ president, and it is a great gay anthem, which, as far as I can tell, is about having anonymous sex at YMCA's, which is awesome, right? I mean, not for me, but like, it's great that there's a gay anthem out there and that everyone sings to it and loves it. So it's weird that he has it. It's weird that it exists. It's weird that they're performing here. It's not a current hit. It's not a song that's in the zeitgeist. It is a song which has been completely captured by Donald Trump. It is complete. It is his song now. It is no longer anything else. Nobody can hear the song and disassociate it from Donald Trump. He has completely taken it. The same way that for me, Fleetwood Mac was completely destroyed by the Clintons. Seeing Hillary and Bill clapping along to "Don't Stop Thinking About Tomorrow." Anyways, and I voted for the Clintons, and they destroyed that song for me. But still, like, this is crazy to have them perform. And let's think about what it means. The show opened with Bocelli, who played at Trump's inauguration. It closed with the Village People, who played at Trump's inauguration. Now listen, they initially did a cease and desist, but then they gave up and said, oh, this is a way of unifying people. They're just getting their bag. Lame, right? Lame. It's lame that they let it happen, but they let it happen. And here they are actively supporting it. Nobody wants to hear YMCA at this point. When James Brown performed Living in America, it was an old song, but everybody knew it. It was, a great American artist performing a mediocre pop hit from the late stages of his career. But it thematically linked with Rocky, the Rocky movies. It's an American song. What the hell is YMCA? Why is this being performed here? And the whole thing was weird because they didn't even sing the first verse. They just had all the members singing, young man, young man. So I'm going to provide to you two cameras, and you can find this on Fox Soccer. You can find the performance of this. One is on the band, and one is on the special birthday boy, Donnie. One is for little Lord Fauntleroy and his big party. This is what I call the special boy cam, where we get to see him looking so happy next to his mommy as they watch the show. He's so happy. He's just, oh, my favorite song is, this has been boring. I liked it when they gave me the prizes. I liked it when the person I like singing started singing, and then I liked it when I got a prize, and then I liked it when all my favorite sports people got up and gave little balls to everybody, and now I like it because they played me the song. This very weird moment where he just comes out and he's singing and he's just so clearly tired, and there's all these replacement members, and what are they thinking? What are they thinking? Did they go through all this struggle to perform for this in this a moment? And then there's Donald Trump doing his little dance. His little dance, right? And it's like the whole room was waiting. It's like back in the old days. That's what she said jokes. You knew they were coming, right? And you knew the lame person who would make the joke. And someone would say something and you'd wait for them to say it. But it wasn't with joy. It was with cringy foreboding, cringe boding, right? Someone would be like, oh, geez, I don't know. That's harder than I thought it would be. And then you wait and you know he's right over there. Noah's right over there. He's going to say it. And you're just like, God damn. You know he's going to do the dance. You know he's going to do it. And look at the people around him pretending to smile, pretending it's funny, pretending it's cool. You see his mommy right there next to him. She's kind of moving away, kind of looking over there. You see this guy over here. He's got the right look. What the hell? This one lady's trying to join in and start dancing too. And it's just it's just sad. It's like everybody's at the baseball stadium and they see the rich boy in the middle of the field. And they see them coming in during the seventh inning stretch, bringing out a birthday cake that looks just like him, and him eating the birthday cake, and there's cake all over his face. And he's sitting there and he's saying, more, more, more. And everyone's just sitting there, and it's horrible because he's ruining the show. But it's also, you feel bad for him because it's like, look at this little boy. He's got no chance. But it's not a little boy. It's the goddamn President of the United States of America. It's the most powerful person in the world. Listen, at least they didn't pull this. At least they didn't take this away. This guy right here is straight out of 70s cruising culture in New York City. He's dressed up as a leather daddy. He's got the red handkerchief. I've seen Cruising with Al Pacino. I know what all this symbolism means. Just look at the face as he's sitting there basking in his moment. He is the only person who is shown. They only cut from the performance to him throughout this whole event, because he is the only person that matters. More than 1 billion people are going to watch this spectacle. Do you know one of the 1 billion people who is not going to be watching? Him. He's not going to be watching unless he's in the crowd and everyone is clapping for him, and no one's going to clap for him, so he's not going to be there. But this is still his special moment, because every moment has to be his special moment. And he gets the clap in his weird sort of clap. We see his mommy next to him, and she's getting ready to go. And then we see Uncle Johnny over there, and he's clapping to make sure that Donnie has the best special boy day he can possibly have, so that nobody gets wished into the cornfield. The lead singer of the Village People says, "Final draw, World Cup, we love you." He's on such autopilot. The day before, he was in Kansas City. He said, "Kansas City, we love you." The day before that, he was in Stockton, California. "Stockton, we love you." The day before that, he was in Reno. "Reno, we love you." Like, there's no meaning. There's no nothing. Nobody is watching this. Nobody is performing this. Nobody is clapping. This is nothing for nobody on the largest possible scale. Nobody is deriving any authentic joy or feeling at all. It is art without any emotion or meaning. It is pure, symbolic obsequiousness, subservience to a single person. It is the least artistic performance in human history. It happened, everybody. Congratulations. You have witnessed the least artistic performance in human history. The furthest thing from art that has ever been made. And it was just last Friday. It was the Village People performing YMCA for Donald Trump. World Cup, we love you. So anyways, that's my take. What did you guys think? Did you like it? Did you have fun watching it? So yeah, in the end, I've got that poster back there. I'm super happy to have it, especially as I've learned more and more about soccer. Having something autographed by Bobby Charlton, Michel Platini, and Franz Beckenbauer on the same sheet is amazing. And then having James Brown and Vanessa Williams and Robin, it's a crazy document. But the reason that this all started is that shows the clumsy charm, as opposed to the obsequious nightmare we just saw on Friday. All right, I got to go walk the dogs again. Bo's got some kind of issue, so he's an old boy. Until next time, there's the camera.